tournament, and we actually ran into Nagafin backstage, Merck, and we asked him, you know, you've played both of these squads. Who do you think you match up better against? He said definitely FaZe. So this is going to be a tough pill to swallow, I think, for this Elevate squad. But is this a match that you think is definitely going to be in favor of Envious, TP?
You got to give them the advantage, but going back to the pool play match where they matched up previously, this Elevate team looks like a different squad from what we saw on Friday, in my opinion. They're slaying a lot better. Hardpoint is usually Elevate's, worst game type, and they're looking really good on it, to be honest. If Nagafin can have a better performance, it seems like the three slayers on the team, Facento, Aqua, and Fellow, they're going off, to be honest. They look like those elite slayers you expect them to be, but Facento's the one that's sort of the surprise. He's had a hell of a tournament.
And I think talking about Elevate, I'm pretty sure when they matched up last time, they lost the first two maps, and then they won the uplink in a pretty dominant fashion and ended up losing the CTF. I think right now this Elevate squad, it's a new Elevate squad from the last time we saw them, and I think it really comes down to that search and destroy, though. I think if they can take that search and destroy, their uplink has looked really well. Yes, they just lost it to Optic, but you're losing it to Optic, and it's a very good team. And it was a really close game. If Formal and Karma don't intercept those drones right there, they probably win that map. So they're looking really good in uplink, even against Luminosity. So right now, this match is going to come down to the search and destroy. If they can take it, they can go up 2-1, even if they do lose the hard point, but obviously the hard point would be important.
Merck, before I let you dive deeper, we're going to save this for later. Right now, down on the floor, we have young Senator Jack Dunlop. Break it down for us. What did we miss here on the main stage?
Yeah, great match here over on the featured station. Envy going up against FaZe, an age-old battle in the Call of Duty competitive scene. What we see is the thing that has plagued FaZe all weekend in the hard point. They lose by, I think, 3 seconds again. I mean, 5 or 6 times now this weekend, a hard point goes 250 to something around 240 to 245. That doesn't go in FaZe's favor, and they were statistically the best hard point team in Stage 2, something they have to absolutely work on going into Call of Duty XP. Envy, though, they rattled back right after that. They go ahead, go into that game 2. It goes through around 11 where FaZe wind up clutching up. So the series gets tied 1-1. But what Envy do best? Well, it's their dominance in the respawns. Uplink, they win it by a scoreline of, I believe, 13-4. And then in the CTF, it's close. FaZe actually strike first, but then Envy regain composure. The big difference, Apathy starts going off. There was a huge crowd behind Envy. He was getting them hyped up. They were getting into it as well. They get 2 caps in a row to give them that series victory. It was definitely a trying series. It was not one that they just could walk right through with FaZe. You think 250 to 247, the game 1 win. They lose the S&D by 1 round. The uplink pretty much in their favor, and a 1 cap difference in CTF. Elevate walking on over after I saw some of their players watching from the crowd. All I know is this losers bracket finals match is going to be great. That's going to do it for me down on the floor, though. Going to send it back over to you boys on the desk.
Thank you, Jack, my former intern, now a rockstar floor reporter. Gotta love hearing from Jack here, and he broke that one down really well in depth for us. We now know our matchup. It's Envy. They do have a chance of making the run all the way to the championship bracket, and we're going to see, will they be able to take down Elevate a second time? Merck, I know you had some thoughts on Envy's performance today. People at home probably don't realize how tough of a day it has been here on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, they take down Rise, who is considered a top 3 team in the game. They beat FaZe. They've beaten 2 powerhouse teams. Now they just have to take down Elevate and Optic. Easier said than done, but, this is what we talked about. Winning that first game of the day, it's such huge momentum going forward, especially on a Sunday. So, it'll be very exciting. I want them to make that grand final, that El Clasico, I think, Optic versus Envy. It would be awesome to see. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And going back to years past, Envy has been that team that has kind of struggled versus the Juggernauts. We're not seeing that here, and that's really cool to see. I think we're all really excited to see if we could get that Optic and Envy grand final that we haven't been able to see in such a long time. But, Elevate's playing really well, in my opinion. I'm impressed by them as well.
Yeah, no, right now, if I'm Envy, I'm so super confident. We took out 2 giant powerhouse teams that we were just talking about. That's what I'm saying to myself. But this Elevate team does match up well against them. This is not going to be a walk in the park. Like I said, yes, they took out Rise and they took out FaZe, but this Elevate team is no team to take lightly. Of course, we've seen them here top 3 or top 2 twice in a row now. You want to make sure like I said, Envy's weaker game type Search, that's their stronger game type. They took that uplink last time they played them, so this is going to be a really good match overall.
There's a look at Team Envious. From left to right, you got John, Slasher, Apathy, and JCap. And And Envy made kind of a big change halfway through this year, bringing on John and Apathy. This was kind of a move that some experts were questioning early on. Do you think it's worked out for them? And why is this a stronger team in theory after watching them at stage 2 with these 2 guys on the squad?
Although it was at my expense, you have to give them the credit now, right? They needed those 2 stronger SMG Slayers, a faster style of play. My slower style did not go with Caps and Slashers, which are traditionally slow. And overall, Apathy. The question mark was on him, let's be honest about it. And he has answered that call, to the utmost degree. He's been playing extremely well in tandem with John.
Yeah, and when we talk about this Envy squad, it was never, are they good enough? We know they're good enough. We talked about it in Anaheim. This team could win championships. It was more, can they stay consistent enough versus every single team? We saw that they did lose, but, they're bringing it back, and it's very important for this Envy team.
That was a look at Apathy. This guy, I've always been impressed with his gameplay. And honestly, every time you look at a squad that Apathy is on, he's the X factor because he's either playing lights out or he's struggling. Very rarely are you going to see him just hanging out kind of in the middle. But he's playing with another Florida native on this squad. And this is a guy that I remember looking like he was 5 years old on the main stage back in Black Ops 2. But John, he's got the baby face, but he's got some of the fiercest shots you can see in Call of Duty.
I mean, yeah, I've teamed with this guy back in Black Ops 2. I teamed with him here. I played with him in the Grand Finals. This is one of the players that came up through this game, and he didn't really fall off. He just wasn't as dedicated probably in the previous CODs, and then he decided to take this game really serious, and you can see how dominant he has been all year. This is one of the only guys that gets into that hill and drops 45 kills while not roaming. He's one of those players that is so effective to have on a team, especially in hardpoint and even search and destroy. He is so explosive.
So that's a look at John, but really when we were talking at the start of the day, who is the star player for Envy outside of JCap? You got to go with Austin Liddycoat, Mr. Slasher.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't know what happened to this guy. When I was teaming with him, he was a good AR, and then all of a sudden when I'm leaving, maybe I was the problem. I guess I'll blame myself for it. All of a sudden, though, you got to give him the credit. He is looking like, I will say it, the best AR in the game in the last half of that Stage 2, leading on into the Stage 2 finals. The guy is positioning himself so well, and, Cap hasn't been playing well as the second AR. I'll be honest about it. And so the fact that Slasher is able to pick up that slack so often, so consistently, and still remain at the top is so darn impressive. Imagine if he had a little bit more help.
Yeah, I mean, this guy just, he gets, plus 10, plus 15 kills a game. He's so good. He puts himself in such good positions. And like we said, the past 6 weeks, he's just been a new Slasher. He's a guy that sometimes, we sort of talk about it. He can be very tilty. He doesn't always have the best attitude towards a team. So when they did lose versus that Rise, we weren't really sure how they were going to bounce back. But, it's very important, that they beat Cloud9 last night, and then they have this run this morning. Super important that, he has a positive mindset coming into today.
Well, I just looked back behind us, and he's got nothing but smiles as they're starting to set up on the main stage. I think that win over FaZe was a huge relief for the whole squad. And I was actually peeking in on this Envy squad earlier in the day. It looked like 2 of his teammates had 17 kills in a hard point. He was dropping 43 kills in that same game. So the man can absolutely take over with the AR. But when you look at this Envy squad, what do you think is the greatest strength of the foursome?
Probably their overall slaying power. I think they have 4 players right now that slay, but they slay from within the hill. There's the difference between a lot of players that slay or considered slayers usually are the ones that are known to push out of the hard point and get some kills off of spawn and spawn trap people like that. But they have a lot of people that are so explosive, including Slasher, with they are within the hill, and that is something that a lot of teams lack.
So to touch on that, you look at a team like FaZe, they have the all-star lineup, and we were seeing that earlier. What sets Envy apart compared to a team like that is FaZe takes long routes around after they get kills. Envy does not. They go straight for it. As soon as they get a kill, they're getting the objective right away, whether it's the hard point, the drone. There's no gap between the kills and the objective pressure from them, and that's really what sets them apart as probably, you can kind of call them the best hardpoint team right now.
Just a very efficient squad. Remember, this is your Stage 2 winners. These guys kind of shocked everybody. You saw Slasher leading his squad throughout the whole season, a 1.12 KD as the AR player, but it was a whole team effort at Stage 2 when they became the champions. Coming into the tournament, the question was, Is Optic Gaming still the top team in the world, or is there a new team wearing the crown here in Envy, Merc? Where do you think Envy stands right now in the global scene?
I mean, I think they're top 2 in the world, I think, alongside Optic.
Definitely.
That's why I want to see them play Optic. I think in terms of, like, consistency, FaZe and Rise have sort of up, down, up, down. We're not really sure which FaZe or Rise we're going to see, but, you know, so far, and Envy had a tournament win, and they're pushing to make another grand final. So I really want to see those two juggernauts meet up in the final.
All right, well, we are going to see how this all plays out. You saw the players have just sat down. JCap is getting his mid-meal snack. He's having his banana before game time. All smiles. Before we talk about this Elevate squad, I do want to talk a little bit about JCap and just the legacy. For anyone who's just tuning into Call of Duty and Black Ops 3, this is a guy that has been competing in MLG tournaments since we picked up Call of Duty. TP, you've seen this man. You've played against this man. Merc, you've teamed with this guy.
It's my duo.
Tell me about JCap in particular, starting way back. When did you first hear about this guy, and how long has he been playing at the top level?
I mean, I think when you first think of JCap, you think Modern Warfare 2.
Yep.
I think he sort of started slow as Chris, because Chris teamed with him early on, but then he exploded in PCL 2. I think that's when they didn't lose like a map the entire time during playoffs, and he was just different. He used a different weapon, he used a different person than everyone else, but he was the best at it. He was so good, and that just exploded into Black Ops 1, where, you know, him and I won multiple championships together, and ever since then, he's just kept that consistent level. Obviously, he's not the star of his team like he used to be anymore, but he still has what it takes to get it done.
And it's kind of interesting to always watch as the players get older, how they transition out of being in that star role where you need the fastest reactions to really just transitioning like Crim6 has done into being the vocal leader in the game, but also just setting up the plays. I think JCap does a great job commanding his troops. I mean, he's even the commissioner in our fantasy football league. He's the guy who just takes charge in every situation.
He likes that. He liked that a lot.
When the pressure is on these guys, JCap is the one they're going to be looking at to see where do we correct the problems, where do we need to set up. He's the old guard in Call of Duty. TP, you hung up the controller this year. Merc, you did it at the start of the year, and Replays, same thing. What happens as you age as a Call of Duty player, and how do you stay competing at this top level? How long can JCap go?
He can go for as long as he wants to be honest, I think all of us still have the talent. It just comes down to a role that certain teams need. The games are much faster now. And, you know, after you compete at like, what, it's like our 50th event or something, like actually competing for years and years and years, you learn the best ways to be consistent, and sometimes the best way to do that is take a sort of a lesser role in the team and focus on the entire team dynamic, micromanaging what is going on the minimap, stuff that you see Crim and Karma doing. You know, back in the Complexity days, they were like our main slayers, and me and Pat were more of like the fill-in players, and you saw their roles. It really depends on the teammates you're playing with. Cap has always been one of the best at doing that, fulfilling what the teams need in that leadership way.
But I think for me too, I think he needs to, you know, have breakout performances, right? Especially in Search and Destroy. I think he needs to be the one to lead the charge. You know, we always talk about how Apathy does it. I want to see JCap sort of take the lead, you know, initiate some gunfights. So sometimes we talk about it, he just sort of sits back, doesn't seem too confident in his play. So I want to see him push bomb sites, go with his SMG players, and open the round for him.
It's not like he lost his shot. We can all shoot really well. It's just you got to have that selfish mentality sometimes.
Yep.
He needs to use it.
Yeah, no, and I think one thing also about JCap that was always my favorite part of teaming with him, like we were talking about being a leader, like yes, he does have to have those explosive gameplays here and there, but honestly, I think he brings so much to this team that a lot of people kind of overlook. He is probably the vocal leader, but he's one of the only people that I have teamed with, and I give him a lot of even credit for our champs run last year. He taught us as a team so much on what to do and how to do it, where you should be on the mini-map. Every time I've ever played with JCap and I'm scrimming with him or I'm playing practice with him, no matter what, if he sees one thing wrong on the mini-map,
He'll let you know.
Oh, he'll let you know.
Yeah.
And he'll let you know until it's fixed. And it's something that a lot of players don't do. As crazy as it sounds, it's just something like that is so important. Even when he's not having those breakout performances, he had I think like a .85 like last KD, like last event. He's still so important because he's making the right plays. He's helping his teammates make the right plays. And during practice and stuff, too, he brings so much to the table. It's unbelievable.
He's just able to break it down and sees it all as it's unfolding live in the game. JCap is definitely going to be a key player to watch for Envy throughout this series in the losers bracket finals. But on the other side of the stage, I think we're looking at one player to step up his game, and that's Nagafen, a guy we called out last night. He's had some highlight plays, but not the consistency we want to see. Nagafin at the start of the year, I thought he was definitely within everyone's top 5 as one of the best players in the game. He just took the Black Ops 3 movement right away. If Nagafin is going to be able to get revenge against this Envy squad, what do we want to see from him, TP? Where does he need to make some changes?
Just needs to be more of a basic style of gameplay. He uses the SMG. Him and Vicento have been trying to figure out for basically this entire year of who's going to run that role. And, you know, Vicento's seems to be comfortable. I'm not sure if Nagafin is quite there yet. You know, you don't question his search and destroy gameplay. He has some of the highest KDs throughout this CWL stages. That's not an issue. It's his respawn consistency, and if he's able to bring it just to like average and even KD on most of the maps, it completely elevates their gameplay. You like that?
I think too, though. Yeah, we talk about his search and destroy, but the past few matches we've watched him play, he hasn't had that much of an effect. When you look at the match versus Luminosity, I think he has 3 kills. You know, the game versus Optic, I think he has like around 3 or 4 kills. If this is the best S&D player in the world, I want to see double digits. Like, this guy needs to step it up right now.
I think he got a lot of credit for his best S&D player in the world because of stage 1, but we have to also take into account that that was a couple months ago. It's not, we're not right now. It's not in the present. That was in the past. I think he does need to step it up and say S&D. I think you're completely right. I feel like right now he's getting a lot of pressure to perform in those S&Ds, and he hasn't right now. He's basically the X factor for this team, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
We have talked a little bit about Felony. Now, this has been Mr. Consistent when it comes to the main stage. He did it back at MLG Anaheim. He's doing it so far today, and he got it done last night. When it comes to the hard points, his SMG is on fire for game number 1. He's been over 40, I believe, in the last 3 times we've seen him. Felony is going to be going up with the SMG against who from Envy, and will he be winning these gunfights over and over again?
The biggest difference is you're going up against 2 extremely proficient SMGs in John and Apathy on the side of Envious. It's tough to say if there is another team at this pro level that have 2 such high-level players like that, and I feel like John and Apathy have even played better than to what everyone expected. It was already at a high level. But Apathy, the past, I don't know, month, couple of weeks, has been on that same level up there. Just so much aggression from them. So Felony has his work cut out for him for sure.
Yeah, but for me, when we talk about like their past performances, the close hard points, like he's a huge reason of that. You know, in terms of who can match John and Apathy, you look at Optic, like Scump and Crim, like that's another duo that's so fierce. And Felony is playing at that level. And it's something that, you know, coming into this year, we weren't really sure how Felony was going to develop as a player. He was very inconsistent, but his respawn just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are continuously doubting Felony because of his past performances in Advanced Warfare and even a little bit in the beginning of this game. But every time we count him out or every time we, like, question him, he continues to drop that 40 bomb against, like you said, the higher tier subs. It doesn't matter. It was against Optic, and then you have John and Apathy. So I think it's pretty confident that he's going to do well here.
We have 2 more players to talk about. We've run through 6, and I just looked behind me. It looks like the players starting to put on their soundproof headphones, so that means the game is going to be minutes away. We'll get into all the ban and protects and everything else, but let's revisit Vicento. Is he playing like he did on MLG Saturday night's primetime show?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're seeing signs of greatness out of him. That 1v3 against Optic, he's playing well. He's getting loud, especially when he's getting loud and he's getting hyped. He takes that vocal leadership role on this team. I think we're seeing it, yeah.
And he's winning these one-on-one duels. Like, he's winning some crazy gunfights. You're like, wow, that was a very nice shot, and that's what you want to see from Vicento. You know, to help out Felony, to help out Aqua, he has to keep this up if they want to compete with teams like Envious and teams like Optic Gaming.
Completely agree with both of you. You said it perfectly. I mean, I was doubting him a lot. Absolutely. You're going into Saturday night. I just didn't think he was going to be able to hang. I watched some of the practice a decent amount, and he seems to be the one, along with Nagafin, slacking off at times when it comes to, you know, the slang category. But he proved me wrong. I'll be honest about it, and I'm extremely impressed with his gameplay. He seems extremely confident. His shots on point. Those absolutely sick plays. The glitch 1v3 is probably one of the best plays of the tournament, easily, and he did it again versus Optic. So.
Speaking of those top plays, we know we're going to be compiling lots of top 5s. So take this minute, guys, while the games are loading up. Tweet us at MLG. What have been some of your favorite plays of the entire tournament so far? I've been looking for a major highlight from Aqua. He's our last player to talk about. Coming into the tournament, this is kind of your bread and butter. This is the guy you can bank on to put up kills after kills after kills. How consistent has he been? Has he been living up to your expectations like the way he played throughout most of season 2?
Throughout this entire game, he's been absolutely explosive. Whether or not he's using a submachine gun or an assault rifle, it does not matter. He's probably one of the most versatile players in the game where he can pull out any weapon, including the sniper, submachine gun, assault rifle, and be explosive with it. This entire team really relies on him to slay, and he really never lets them down. This is probably one of my favorite players to watch. I'll go as far to say that, because every time I see this man play, he's getting Bloods in Search. He's making explosive 3-pieces in Hardpoint. He's making really smart plays in the games 3 and 4.
Yeah, he's unstoppable. Let's be honest about it. Even since the champs run they had last year, he was sort of the vocal point for that. I just remember it was an IMR, right? His burst weapon on Retreat CTF. That's the one that stood out to me, and it solidified it in my mind of how good of a player he actually is. Can single-handedly put the team on his back, and he's still doing it better than ever.
Yeah, and I just think one to touch on is sort of his positioning around the map. Like he puts himself in such powerful positions that not only helps his team, but helps him, progress on the map. And he stays aggressive. There are some ARs who sort of stay back. Your Clacers, your Formals, they just sort of watch over their aggressive players. Aqua's in the trenches. He helps his submachine gun players out.
All right, well, we are going to see how this all plays out. Aquaman, when he broke out last year in Advanced Warfare, I think he was my favorite player to watch. He was just so sick with the SMG. Now transitioning into the AR play, definitely a stud for this Elevate lineup. We should put this match into context, though. Not only is there $100,000 on the line this weekend, but there is also massive pro points on the line, which are going to seed the qualifier for Call of Duty Championships at COD XP. So we know Envy's already locked in. They don't really need the win here, but this would be a massive victory if Elevate's able to get revenge. This will help them out with their seed going into that online tournament, so keep that in the back of your mind. But it looks like it's time to talk about our match. Here it comes. Here are your 5 game modes, and we're going to see Stronghold Hardpoint for game number 1. Let's break it down map by map, guys. Who is the favorite coming into Stronghold?
The favorite going into Stronghold, in my opinion, I'm going to take Optic. I think that they're slaying. Oh, I'm sorry. Envy. I'm going to take Envy either way. I think the slaying power right now is just on point for them. I think they really have a lot of confidence after taking out Rise and FaZe. So I'm going to give them the favor here, especially on the map. I mean, on a map like this with the Bunker Hill, you have those explosive subs in Mansion. I think this is going to go in their favor.
Joe, talk to me a little bit about Breach, Search, and Destroy. Who do you give the edge to?
I think this is where you can see Elevate's creative Search and Destroy sort of take over. In that series versus Optic, they got an Evac Search and Destroy, which, their sort of teamwork and chemistry doesn't shine. Here, you can expect those sniper rifles to go off. And then, game number 3 is huge to me. They played Luminosity last night in this, and they won 13-0 on that first side.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention as well. Talked about that map number 3, the most dominant 2 minutes break off on a fringe uplink I think we've seen in Black Ops 3. The fact they were able to do that against a team like Luminosity was very, very impressive. Moving on throughout the series, though, Breach if we get to map 4, and Evac to wrap it up with 5. Overall, though, looking at this one, Envy, I think they have this one at like a 3-1. I think the SMD, I'm going to agree with Joe, is sort of the saving grace for them in this series, but I think the other ones are just too straight up head-to-head gunfights. I'm doubting Elevate again. I'm doubting them.
You're doubting Elevate again?
I don't know why. I don't know why I keep doing it, but I'm doubting them again.
I think you're secretly an Elevate fan, and this is your way of getting them to the finals. We're going to see how it plays out, guys. Here's a look at our ban and protect for a Hardpoint on Stronghold. Go ahead, replays. The HVK is out of action.
So it looks like Envy banned the HVK, which is something that is interesting to see, but the Man of War is in. So you're getting rid of the HVK, but you're letting the Man of War in, and I feel like that's kind of weird because I think we always talk about how good Nagafin is and this Elevate squad is with this Man of War. So I think this kind of favors them a little bit. I feel like we've been talking about how Nagafin's got to perform and step it up in the slaying department. As Stronghold, he's going to be able to use this Man of War. It's probably one of his favorite weapons. I think this is really good for them.
Speaking of Nagafin, he is going to lock in Heat Wave. There goes Felony with the kinetic armor. It's Aqua's turn, running the AR and the Tempest specialist. And Facento should be pulling up the active camo as expected. On the other side of the stage, it is time now for Slasher to make his choice. And the first specialist locked in is going to be another Tempest, something we always see from our ARs. Apathy up next. We'll choose kinetic armor with that SMG. And John, is he going to go active camo? No, he is going to pull out the Heat Wave. So JCap will get our final selection, and he will be running the camo. A mirror match here on the main stage. This is a rematch from pool play, but now there is more pressure than ever. Who will advance to the grand finals? Game number 1 is kicking off in just a few moments. Guys, for the best of 5, let's make the predictions now. Envy?
I'm taking Envy. I want to see that grand final.
Joe?
Yeah, I have been saying Envy. They want to get to that grand final.
Replays.
I see a game 5. I don't know who wins the event. That's my prediction. I see a game 5 though.
Going to game 5. I'm
calling a game 5. I feel like every time we count out Elevate, they always bring us to a game 5. I'm going for it.
Orlando, are you ready for game number 1? Let's send it over to the casters.
Thank you very much, Puckett. Thank you very much to the guys on the analyst desk. Been killing it all weekend long. We've got to give them a massive, massive amount of love. But we're going to be kicking things off on board with Team Envy. It's going to be Apathy specifically. He's going to fall over to JCap on the hard point. And Team Envy is off to a pretty decent break up there, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to watch Apathy off the start because this weekend for this Envious lineup, he has been the X factor for me. When he's struggling in games, that's when Envy starts to drop down on the lead. But when he starts to heat up, when he goes on one of his sprees, that's usually when they start to take over the game.
Looking at Slasher right now on your screen. He's going to look over towards Midcut. Will also fall. To try to get that trade, he's going to drop as well. Obviously, 25 seconds left on that hard point. You can see Nagafen just making sure that there's no one from Team Envy trying to scout out the second hill.
And look, because Envy are currently spawning over near the half-wall side of the map, they're just trying to set themselves up in a better position for this upcoming hardpoint over near Mansion. So you see number 7, I'm going to switch over to Slasher. He's going to lead the rotation through Bunker. What he's doing right now is just playing for spawns. He's trying to get the spawns over near Statue so that his team can flood in from the top side of the map.
Again, I feel like we should reiterate the importance of this game and kind of where the teams are coming from. We have MPS coming off a big win against Team FaZe, Elevate coming off a loss as well against Optic Gaming, so the mentalities may be a little bit different, but this is for a spot in the grand final here at MLG Orlando. Slasher still on your screen. A couple of his teammates falling though as the assist does come in. Should be able to easily clean up Facento. Does so, but he's going to need to try and push him. Felony will be coming at him, and unfortunately, Felony's going to shut him down.
I mean, Slasher did his job right there. He stayed alive for a long time, contesting spawns. His teammates, aside from Apathy, just couldn't get in a position to help him out. They tried to set up a pinch. Didn't work out at all, as now it's going to be Felony as well as Nagafen. Off to a high start, 3 speed for Fella as he gets cleaned up. Let's switch over to Facento. He stopped Mansion, he gets cleaned up. Back to the action inside the hardpoint. It's Apathy here for Team Envious.
He has 2 players from Elevate in front of him, and he's not really going to be able to make anything work.
Everyone's dying, man.
Switches to his pistol. Doesn't matter who you're on, they're going to fall Facento, trying to pre-fire. John has to reload, and of course he is still on that hardpoint, so he will be racking up points for Team Envious as they look to close that very, very small lead that Elevate have managed to earn off those first 2 hills. So now the rotation is going to come in. John able to pick up yet another pick. That's going to be his second in a row. Look for him to potentially start working towards that. That's definitely going to help as they flood the back, making sure Elevate do not have any of those spawns, but Heatwave will come in, and he will drop just like that.
But JCap around the flank, he finds 2. Envy will be able to break into the hardpoint. It's going to be Felony desperately trying to stay alive in the back to contest spawns for his teammates. Elevate, they're going to set up to break this half-wall position. Active camo now available for JCap. He's going to go ahead and pop it. Takes down Felony, switches to the upper. He gets another kill. JCap now working on streak, and he's going to get him, and he shuts down Facento. Lightning Strike, Hellstorm, and 100 points away from the Cerberus.
That was absolutely fantastic play coming from him. He's on that 5 streak. He's 100 away from the Cerby. He's definitely going to have to play for this one here. That could be a huge factor. He's going to see that, and he's going to get it. And that's a fully streaked out JCap for Team Envious.
And this is exactly what JCap brings to the team. Veteranship, leadership as well. He's the flex player for his team. If they need an extra SMG, he'll bring it out. If they need him to run in the assault rifle, he'll do that as well. If he needs to pick up slaying, he's more than capable of doing that too.
And here's my question for you now, Revan. When do you think he's going to use that Cerberus? When should he drop it?
The Cerberus is really good on the bunker hard point. You could manually control it and break into the bunker point if you need to, but it's really good on just about every single one here. I'm looking for the Lightning Strike and Hellstorm to have a big effect too, especially on this hard point. Right now, Team Envious, of course, they don't have the setup, so they might be playing around the streak, and there's a Hellstorm missile going to pick up 1. 3 fall instantly for Elevate as they spawn back up. Look at the mini-map. Those guys come further away from this current hard point.
Aqua was at the back, but Slasher's going to clean him up. Of course, JCap still does have that Lightning Strike and the Cerby to use. Envious looking to chip away once again at that Elevate lead, and JCap is shooting very nicely right now. It's currently sitting at 11 and 10. Most kills for Team Envious, but on the other side, Felony, a player who yesterday really impressed us, currently 19 and 10. He has come to play, and he is right.
Elevate continue to maintain the lead, but my issue with this Elevate squad is not with Felony. You know what you're going to get from him. It's this man who's on your screen now, Nagafen. I feel like he's just not yet comfortable with this team in hardpoint, and this is something dating all the way back to MLG Anaheim where he had some, inconsistent performances in this game mode. I feel like for Elevate, if they want to take the series, you need a big performance from Nagafen.
Well, JCap has just called in his Cerberus, so expect to see that maybe do a little bit of damage here on the Bunker Hill. They are able to get early control. Bear in mind, Slasher does have his Tempest to use if he so chooses, but for for right now, they have full control. You can see the Cerberus on your minimap on the top left. That should do some work. And that's in fact actually killed Apathy there. So not the best start.
Not too often you see a Cerberus team kill. But look, because Envy were able to push out both sides of the bunker hardpoint, they forced Elevate to spawn out, and Elevate's now action of attack is going to be coming around from the lock side of the map. Aqua's going to chain the Tempest onto Apathy as Elevate pushed on in, currently contested by JCap. He gets cleaned up. The Tempest falls immediately though, as it's going to be Envious setting up for the retake. They all barrel into the hardpoint, not been the last one live, as it's a clean break and retake by Team Envious here.
And that was a good break originally from Elevate, but as you said, Revan Envious just kind of flooded it straight back at them.
Now they have the lead.
Anything you can do, we can do better. And as you say, they do have that lead and building. Of course, hardpoints are going to rotate to that second cycle now on board with Felony up top, still playing very, very well for Team Elevate, currently sitting at 20 and 13. Should be able to pick up an easy win on Apathy. Okay, never mind.
I mean, if you're Felony, there's got to be a ton of pressure. He's been one of the key performers here from Elevate, but he pops up the scoreboard. What did he see? He sees Facento at -7. He sees Nagvan at -5. Here comes the Lightning Strike as all four go down once again on the side of Elevate, and now you have Apathy. He's starting to heat up, currently on a 4-3. Things are going to get out of control quickly if the Envious are able to keep up this pace.
And this is
just shredding everyone.
And that's a nice little flank coming in from Apathy as well. It draws Elevate away from the hardpoint. He's able to pick up 2 as well. His teammates picking up that extra time. Of course, still 27 seconds left on this hill. JCap looking to just kind of peek over. Meanwhile, John trying to do the work over towards Make Cut. He's going to get traded. Down he goes, but JCap is there looking to just clean up the Elevate players. But finally, they have a little bit of a fight back. It's going to be Nagafen actually on that hardpoint, racking up a little bit of time. You know, that scrap time is basically going to put us almost at a tie game.
Yeah, very close, but it's going to be Envy investing this time into a rotation over towards the mansion hardpoint. You have Felony up top, just trying to stay alive. As you see on the minimap, he's going to have help from Facento, who's right behind him. And we'll get one more second, but you see how they're setting up to break. As Felony falls now, Facento is going to pop the active camo, pushes tables, but he gets cleaned up from behind. Meanwhile, it's actually inside the hardpoint through the heat wave. He picks up the kill on the Nagafen, as right now Envy, they were a little late on the rotation, but they make their first break worth it.
Now you have to expect Elevate to be pinching from so many different directions. I mean, you look at the minimap, the smoke's coming in very, very split, but Apathy able to win the one at the back. That's going to be Aqua John as well, helping out. They lose control of the hill, but it's a nice little flank coming in from App. He's able to clean that out. Just immediately goes for the spawn kill. Is he going to spot Felony? He will. This is just beautiful play.
This is for Streaks as well. As you pick this kill up, he can't get the dart. Bit of a blunder there from Apathy, but throughout that series of plays, that's something that we should highlight because it's something I love from Team Envious. They're so decisive when they're in a position like that, right?
Yep.
2 members die inside the hardpoint. They immediately commit to one side of the map. Apathy does a great job staying alive. They're able to contest for a little bit longer. Now you see Envy starting to build a bit of a lead. Back on a 2-screen for Apathy. Now he's positive. 7 with kinetic armor now available.
We'll see exactly when he's going to pop that kinetic. Now it's all good. He has definitely stepped up 27 and 19. And this is the Apathy team Envious are going to need if they're going to win here in the lose bracket final. He's going to need to stay consistent, of course, if he does make it to that grand final later on.
And look, Apathy starts to heat up. Felony now starts to slow down a little bit. You remember how he was so positive at the beginning of the game. Now he's positive 4, currently on a 2-spree as well, but Aqua's slowing down as well. I mean, still, you're not getting a good performance out of Nagvan as well as Facento. They're still pretty negative. Once again, it's a clean break for Team Envious. Camo popped once again from JCap as Envy are trying to lock down this hard point. You see how Elevate are trying to break from the rock side of the map.
And they are picking up a serious amount of time. That lead, which was kind of back and forth at the beginning of this one, Revan has kind of spiraled a little bit out of control in favor of Team Envious. Of course, it's definitely not over yet. One good bunker control from Team Elevate puts them straight back in it, but the hardpoint's going to be contested. JCap's going to fall. 3 players from Elevate splitting. They won this final 17 seconds, but they're going to need to shut down the Envy plays at the back, and that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, that's a great break from Elevate. I mean, it's something we always talk about Elevate, how their teamwork, at times it just carries them through map wins. They just need to stay collected and cohesive throughout the entire map. But look, this is the situation we're in. Elevate now currently down by 50 points. We're going into the rock hard point. The idea for Elevate here is they just want to split time with Team Envious and win the rotation over towards the bunker hard point. If they're able to get that early rotation down, there's a realistic chance they lock it down for the full 60 seconds as well. And if they do that, they're right back into the game.
Yeah, realistically, as you said, that rotation is going to be make or break for Team Elevate here. As you said, just split that time. And so far, so good at the beginning part of this hard point. You see JCap trying to break on for Team Envious. They obviously don't want to give away too much time here to Team Elevate, but so far, all the gunfights really going in their favor. Jacob's going to go for a little bit of a flank, but Felony's read him like a frog. He's going to fall, and Elevate slowly but surely.
Might be a camo play here from Facento, or if he's going to save it for Bunker. Picks up the initial kill there onto John. Looking for Apathy as well, but his teammate Nagafin is there, as Elevate have broken into the hardpoint. But Envious, they're right there to answer back, and with 15 seconds remaining, you see Elevate players already set up. Nagafin now coming in from the push.
Oh, wow.
Aqua.
Oh,
okay, Aqua.
My goodness
All right.
me. Fantastic couple of kills, and this is what you were talking about, Revan. Elevate, they've rotated early, they have control of this next hard point. Now the question,
and they push out both sides.
They hold on to it. You see Jacob there through the Facento's actually going to clean up. That's a big win. Elevate, they're going to get a serious amount of time here. Facetta's causing all sorts of problems by this back. If he wins this, that would be massive, but he's not going to. 2 players fall. Now pressure on Elevate to try and defend this hill.
And now their attention is split, right? Heatwave's going to slow down Apathy from one side, but he's being pinch hit from the other. Too many things for Nagafin to worry about. It's a well-coordinated push and break from Team Envious. Let's go over to Slasher. He's going to bring out the Tempest inside the hard point, but he's yet to shoot anybody because his teammates have killed all 4 players on the side of Elevate. Envy looking to close this one out right here, right now.
And bear in mind, you know, Slasher, he's 100 points away from a Sebi. He could just drop the Hellstorm, drop the Lightning Strike, secure this win. Instead, there's the Tempest. He may get lucky with the chain. He does. That's going to be 2. Looking for 3. He's going to connect. He got to find the fourth. Slasher trying to go big for Team Envy. It's not going to happen, but he has it. Boy, and Apathy right behind him. Look at that score. They need 2 more points. The instinct is going to come in. And Team Envious win map number 1 in our losers bracket final.
I mean, the assault rivals there for Team Envious were so patient. They did their job that entire map. They were patient. They waited for their teammates to help out. They did a great job playing for spawn. And when it came to breaking the hardpoint, especially here on the final bunker one, Envious did it just about perfectly. They get streaked out, and their slaying really carries them through the victory there.
It was, as you said, a fantastic break. Elevate rotated early. They had a good setup.